Good morning, everyone. We are here to discuss what is research, and of course the different functions of or the different parts of a chapter 1. Last time, nag-discuss tayo ano nga ba yung yung other types of research kung what are you going to use or for you to be able to have or select your topic, And of course, this is somewhat like lecture for chapter 2, and this will be your guide on how you are going to write your chapter 1. Let us first discuss ano nga ba yung research. Okay? Now, the research, as we all know, is a systematic investigation. When we say systematic, we have the different kinds of um, ways, procedures, or steps. Kaya siya systematic kasi siya ay gumagamit po tayo ng ating iba't ibang klase ng steps na hindi ka pwedeng mag-jump from one step to another. That is an investigation into a study of materials, sources, and others. In order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. It can also be an endeavor to discover new or collate old, meaning sabi ko nga 'di ba sa inyo last time, uh, you have to uh, add to the body of knowledge, especially to your specialization. That is why we have to discover new knowledge, new information based on the research that you are going to use. And of course, you may also collate old facts by the scientific study of a subject or by course or critical investigation. Meaning, yung mga dati na kasi 'di ba may mga researches tayo na ginagawa. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, a research is somewhat like a cycle. So that is the reason why we have to make a collate or enhance those kind of researches that we um, read from the different journals and different researches, and kinakailangan na sa kumbaga from that ay nakikipag-collate tayo from the old facts. Research is what we do when we have a question or a problem. So ito na yung diniscuss natin last time na iba yung research problem sa yung simple na problem lamang natin. And itong mga problem na to should be resolved either if we are going to conduct or either if we are trying to read different kinds of resources such as sa newspaper, sa journal, we have different kinds of resources, the primary resources and secondary sources, pag-aaralan natin siya sa susunod. We may already think we know the answer to our question already, But then kasi, ito may mga simple question kasi na no need to research na anymore. Halimbawa, magkano ang pamasahe? Do you really need to make a research for that? Of course not. That's a simple problem or a simple questions that can be answered na hindi na kinakailangan mag-conduct ng research. But then, research can be a questions or a question, an answer to a question. We may also think the answer is obvious or common sense even. But then again, hindi siya nakasi-research kung siya ay obvious na obvious yung sagot. But until we have subjected our problem to rigorous scientific scrutiny, our knowledge remains little more than guesswork or at best intuition. Ano nga ba yung research? So we have to first prioritize the formulation of your question. Later on, magkakaroon tayo ng discussion ng tungkol sa on how you are going to formulate your research question. And then you will be figure out how you are going to answer it. Okay, paano naman? So, how have others answered it? How does your proposal fit in what others have done? And how will you know when you have an answer it? Then you can present your answer. There are a classical scientific method that you may want to include as you go along with the conduct of your research. First thing first is that you have the observation of some phenomenon. It could be systematic, occasional, or accidental. But then again, yung mga some phenomenon, ito yung mga hindi natin kontrolado like death, like uh, yung mga environmental phenomenon, that can be observable pero napakadalang mo siyang ma-observe. Like for instance, lindol, hindi naman palaging lumilindol. Some idea of an explanation such as the hypothesis, which could be in the form of induction, conjecture, intuition, and guesswork. And it is usually informed by a related work. You can also test of the hypothesis, which is the test and revision cycle. So before we move on, let us have some of the types of research gaps. As you all know, ito ay na-forward ko na po sa inyo dun sa atin pong dun sa inyo pong mga sa GC ninyo yung mga research gaps na yan. Okay? Now, bakit nga ba kailangan nating aralin yung research gap? Alright. It's because with the research gap, doon natin malalaman at maiintindihan ano ba nga ba yung mga kailangan nating i-conduct ng research. Right? As you all know, class, that when we are when knew the different research gap, so diyan magkakaroon tayo malalaman natin ano pa yung kinakailangan nating i-conduct ng research. Okay? Another thing is that we also have a kasi 'di ba kapag tayo nagkakandak ng research, ay kinakailangan anong tawag dito? Alright. So when we say a research gap, so sabi nga natin that is an evidence gap occurs when existing research result on a topic or inconsistent or incomplete or contradictory. Now, if we are going to identify the research gap, ito naman ay nababasa natin for the different literatures or the different journals that you are reading. Learning how to identify the research gaps in existing literature is, of course, one of the most um, important steps in writing a strong research paper or your thesis. A research gap is, of course, simply something that hasn't been fully studied, answered, or explained in the existing research. Most commonly, these are some of the delimitations that is being included in the study of yung mga previous study natin na kinakandak natin, which is commonly known as the enhancement of the research. Sabi nga dyan, this gap often arises when researchers use different methods, the sample sizes, the population, or time frames in their studies, variations in research quality, interpretations of result, or bias in data collection that can also create a conflicting finding. With that, that is also an area in the current body of knowledge that has not been fully explored, answered, or resolved. It could be a missing perspective, an overlooked population, outdated data, or limited use of theory or methods. Identifying the research gaps helps you prove that your study is relevant, original, or worth doing. So this has uh, it has an example na nakalagay dito. Several studies on the effects of social media use on students' academic performance show mixed result. Some report a positive influence, others a negative impact, while few find a significant relationship. So itong consistency na to creates an evidence gap that future research must address to establish a clearer understanding. So let us move on with the different types of the research gaps. There are, I think, some of the research gaps that we can uh, discuss. So first thing first is what we call the practical knowledge. Ano? Now, itong practical knowledge na to, nakalagay dyan, and that is the gap occurs when there is a mismatch between what research says should be done and what is actually applied in a real world settings. Kasi there are times that uh, when we try to create itong mga uh, yung research natin, yung ginawa natin ay iba dun sa real world setting. So bakit nga ba ito nag-o-occur? Because this gap often happens due to lack of awareness among the practitioners. Ganun din yung kakaunti yung mga resources na binasa nila or kakaunti yung mga uh, source or data na nakuha nila. Ganun din yung may mga instances kasi na if we are trying to create a research, yung mga nandoon sa company, there is a what we call the resistance, or they have this fear of having that change in the company. The reason why, parang since magkakaroon, halimbawa kagaya nun, mayroon tayong ipinopropose na computerization. Pero dahil matatanda na yung mga, or some of them are somewhat like hindi na ganun kateki, so they tend to resist the change. Kaya sayang yung knowledge. It's because, or yung bibigay natin ng idea or ng proposal for that certain project, it's because they don't want to use it. So nagkakaroon tayo ng practical knowledge gaps. Another thing is that difficulty in translating academic findings into actionable steps, which could sometimes policies or systems are slow to adapt to new research evidence. So these are the example na nakalagay dyan. Extensive research shows that interactive teaching methods improve student engagement in learning outcomes. However, ayan, may nakalagay doon, many schools still rely heavily on lecture-based instruction due to outdated curricula. So, that could be, yung may however na yan, yun yung sinasabi natin na practical knowledge gap. That is an action knowledge conflict. We also have the knowledge gap. Ano ba yung knowledge gap? Yung isa kasi practical knowledge. Ito knowledge gap lang. See, it is a knowledge gap exists when there is a little to no available research or reliable information on a specific topic, on a concept, or in a population. So, bakit nga ba nag-o-occur yung ganitong klase ng gap? Ito naman happens when the topics is new or emerging. Kasi there are times kasi na talagang mahirap humanap ng mga researches, mahirap humanap ng mga review of related studies, especially when you are conducting new or emerging topic. When certain groups or contexts have been overlooked by researchers, or when previous studies have been too limited in scope to provide a complete understanding. That's the reason why, and sabi ko nga sa inyo, do not use too narrow or too broad topic kasi doon nagkakaroon tayo ng limit. And kapag broad naman, sobrang nagkakaroon siya ng complexity on the topic. That's the reason why we have a what we call the knowledge gap. Now, and nandyan yung example, nakalagay dito, na diniscuss niya. And then after that, sabi, this lack of detailed information for specific context represents a knowledge gap to future studies that can be addressed. We also have the empirical gap. So it occurs when a research topic um, lacks sufficient data or observable evidence to support or refute a claim. It could be there is a gap when there is a little or no real-world data or evidence available on the topic. Mahirap po kasi talaga, no? Kasi sabi ko nga sa inyo, when conducting research, it must be an evidence-based. You really have to investigate. But then again, if there are no real-world data or evidence available on the topic, of course, your study cannot contribute ng maayos kasi wala kang mai-present na supporting details natin. Bakit nga ba ito nag-o-occur? It happens when ideas or policies are proposed without being tested in a real-world situation. Kagaya na lang din halimbawa, of course, hindi naman lingid sa inyong kaalaman na nagkaroon tayo nung ang atin pong DepEd Secretary ay si Sara Duterte. Nagkaroon tayo ng matatag curriculum. Right after that, nung siya ay natanggal, nagkaroon naman ng ng curriculum implementation ulit for the DepEd. But then, kung titingnan natin, may policy na ibinaba kaagad-agad. And with that policy, parang feeling lang ng karamihan na hindi siya na-test ng maayos dun sa mga ah, ng ma- sa mga public school na kung saan nila ito ipinapatupad. That's the reason why, when existing evidence is outdated or too limited, or when prior studies rely heavily on theory without collecting or concrete data. So that is what we call the empirical gap. The methodological gap naman, on the other hand, is a gap, of course, when researchers rely too heavily on one method. So, marami siyang pinagkukunan. Pero, have not used on the most suitable or diverse research methods, the designs or tools to fully address the research problem. It could be underused or missing, and your study can offer a fresh approach by using different or mixed method. So why does it occurs naman? This gap often arises when researchers rely on outdated methods. So ibig sabihin, kapag outdated method, hindi siya napapanahon. Remember, ang atin pong research should be SMART. S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for attainable, R stands for reliable, and T stands for time-bound. So, yung time-bound, yung sinasabi natin na it must be up to date, or napapanahon, or yung tinatawag natin na current. So, kapag siya ay outdated na, nahihirapan na po tayo. That because it don't fully capture the complexity of the topic or focus on convenience rather than methodological appropriateness. So, that is how, or ito yung example natin, using additional method such as in-depth interview or physiological stress measurement could provide more accurate and well-rounded findings addressing the methodological gap. The theoretic, yung kasunod naman ay theoretical gap. So, this gap happens when a specific theory or framework is missing or underused in the studies you review. Your research can fill the gap by applying or developing new theoretical approach. Kasi nanggagaling pa rin siya dun sa theory. Kagaya nito, meron tayong example, the Porter's 5 forces model that is widely used to analyze business competition. Pero, it does not fully explain the dynamics of rapidly evolving digital platform like TikTok, where user-generated content and creator economies reshape competitive factors in ways the original theory did not anticipate. Kaya, kasi syempre, sabi nga natin, everything is being done with the digital na ngayon. So, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga tinatawag natin na mga framework or existing theories that is that we are able to fail to fully explain a phenomenon which is not suitable, or when no suitable theory has been applied to a particular context. The population gap, on the other hand, uh, it could be some groups may be underrepresented or completely ignored in previous studies you can contribute by studying a different or overlooked population. Kasi 'di ba kapag tayo ay kumakuha ng mga sample size, the total number of population, it depends on the different kinds of yung sinasabi natin na sampling method, And this happens when the researchers focus easily accessible participants, lalo't higit yung sabi mo ay, ang sinabi niyo ay, gumamit po ako ng um, sampling method na purposive sampling. It's because sila naman po ay readily available. Nandyan lang po sila, madali po silang makuha. So, when marginalized or remote groups are hard to reach or when funding and resources are limited, we use sometimes cultural, geographic, or language that could vary or prevent certain populations from being included in the study. Yan. Next, the conceptual gap naman ay para saan itong conceptual graph natin or gap? Ito yung tinatawag na perspective gap. That gap exists when researchers approach a topic from a limited or single perspective, overlooking alternative concepts, the variables or interpretations that could provide a fuller understanding. Kasi 'di ba, sabi nga natin meron tayong part 1 natin yung sa ating intro dun sa ating chapter 1 which is the conceptual framework. There are times kasi na yung approach natin from the topic have a limited or single perspective. Hindi kasi natin kinuha yung every perspective of the research. Now, um, this gap often happens when research traditions in a field favor certain viewpoints. Meron tayong ginawa ng mga biases, or when emerging ideas have not yet been integrated into the mainstream studies or interdisciplinary approach is not being considered. So with that, kumbaga parang sabi natin, mahihirapan na din tayo kasi nga kumbaga naging limited na lang yung ating resource for the conceptual. Kaya naman, I always suggest that you really have to read tons of resources for us to be able to have this kind of hindi siya malimit lang dun sa iilan na concept dun sa ating research. The temporal gap, that is what we call chronological gap, is a outdated or does not reflect recent developments, trends, or changes in the subject area. It occurs when field evolve quickly due to the technological advancement. Ito kasi yung sa mga research na or researches ng IT or capstone ng IT NCS because sabi nga natin technology rapidly changing from time to time. Policy and lawmakers always have this what we call new policy and could change the community, the cultural shifts, kasi 'di ba pag sinabi natin cultural shift, minsan sabi niyo, ay, ako ay ngayon, halimbawa sa mga boys, ako ay ngayon ay Catholic, tapos biglang, ay, gusto ko na palang magkaroon ng maging Muslim, kasi sa Muslim maraming pwedeng, kung ako'y mag-aasawa ng dalawa, ina-allow. So, may mga gano'n, nagshi-shift, yung culture natin or new discoveries. Now, older studies may no longer apply to the current context, making updated research unessential. O kagaya ngayon, hindi na natin ginagamit ang mga COVID-19, yung mga pandemic na 'yan. Gasgas na 'yan. During ng 2020 and 2021 up to 2022, there are some studies relating to COVID-19 or sa pandemic. But now, since tayo ay nandito na sa new normal natin at kumbaga ginagamit na talaga natin yung full potential natin bilang mga nakikipag-communicate na in person. So yung mga study on dun sa about sa pandemic is not relevant anymore. Ano po? Now, for the research gap, ang sabi natin, why identifying research gap matter? So, knowing how to identify your research gaps and existing literatures is essential because it directly impacts the quality and success of your study. Bakit? Because it guides you in forming your research problem in question. Kaya naman, di ba sabi ko sa inyo, you really need to read different books, different resources, Finding a gaps help you pinpoint exactly what needs to be studied. Hindi yung basta magkaroon lang kayo or conduct lang kayo ng study, This makes it easier to create clear, focused research, questions, and strong problem statement. Ganun din it ensures originality and relevance. Bakit? Kasi when we identify the different gaps, you make sure your research is a new and just repeating what others have done. This keeps your work relevant and valuable to your feed. It can to your field. It also helps avoid duplication of existing work. Kasi 'di ba paulit-ulit na lang yung mga ginagawa natin. Wala siyang novelty, wala siyang uniqueness dun sa yung study. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, ayoko na ng mga gasgas na mga topic. It's because paulit-ulit lang tayo, binabago-bago lang natin yung title, pero yung output halos the same pa din, When you already identified of the research gaps, it prevents you from wasting time and resources on topics that have already been fully explored. And it can also contribute to academic and practical knowledge because we fill in the gap means your study adds fresh insights or solutions that can benefit from scholars and real world application. It also uh, aligns your study with current trends and needs, Because a well-identified gap ensures your research address up-to-date issues, making it timely and useful. Kaya dapat siya ay current. Okay? Kaya sabi ko nga sa inyo, you really have to read tons of different sources. Hindi pwedeng basta na lamang natin siyang kinukuha or basta na lamang natin siyang binabasa without really have the full understanding of what you are reading. Because these gaps naman, sabi ko nga sa inyo, ay kumbaga, siya naman ay from that gap, nakakapag-create tayo ng new knowledge, new source, and new um, new information na atin pong kinakailangang gawin. Aside from that, we also have some common mistakes when looking for research gaps. Kasi nga, sabi ko nga sa inyo, the research gap can be used as the new knowledge and ito yung pagsisimulan natin kung paano kayo magkakandak ng research. So, to avoid mistakes, you are going to uh, rely, here, yung some of the mistakes that you have to watch for. Relying on old sources, yung gumagamit kayo ng mga outdated research limits, your understanding of current trends and may cause you to miss recent developments. So, kaya nga 'di ba sabi natin mga 5 years lang ang atin pong ginagawa dun sa atin pong or gagamitin sa inyong review of related studies and literature. It's because um hin siya yung yung recent, okay? Confusing lack of access with a research gap. Kasi nga, just because certain studies are hard to find, it doesn't mean that the topic is unexplored. Lagi nating tatandaan that we need to verify availability before concluding the gap. Kaya better na alamin muna natin kung tayo ay may makukuha ba na mga sources, ng mga available ba yung mga data kung tayo ay ikakandak natin yung research na yon. Not reading enough literature, yan yung sabi ko sa inyo. Kasi failing to read widely can lead to false gaps and claims of missing knowledge where research already exists. And the last one is ignoring the theoretical or contextual gap when identifying research gap in existing literature. It doesn't focus or it don't focus only on missing data, but rather we have to consider the missing theories, frameworks, or context is specific issues as well. Ano po? So, with that, um, ano ba or paano na natin ngayon gagawin ang inyong chapter 1? Ano nga ba ang chapter 1? So, how to write your chapter 1 as your research introduction. Remember that the first chapter of your paper or research paper lays the foundation for your entire study. It presents the topic, which could also explain the problem, and shows how or why your research matters, guiding readers smoothly into the rest of your paper. Now, before we move on with chapter 1, I want to discuss first the research title. Remember that the research title comes also, actually dapat nga siya yung huling isinusulat sa totoong buhay, yung research title. Kaya lamang, syempre mas maganda or maganda na rin na kayo ay may pinagsisimulan. Okay? Ano ba ang mga component or uh, yung laman ng isang research title. Again, ang title po ay huli nating iginagawa talaga sa ating research. Kaya lang, syempre, meron tayong tinatawag na research validation. That's the reason why kailangan natin ng chapter 1. Kasi that chapter 1 could be the sufficient evidence in formulating really yung inyong title. So ano nga ba ang laman ng title? It must be concise and specific. You avoid unnecessary jargon or overly broad terms, and it aims to for clarity and precision. Ideally, it should not be more than 15 words kasi yan, i-exclude na muna natin o hindi na muna natin isasama yung mga iba't ibang klase ng preposition na kagaya ng sabi ko sa inyo last time. And there should be no acronym. Yung iba nag-a-acronym pa rin talaga, pero pwede namang hindi na mag-acronym kasi pwede naman yun eh. Basta siya ay clear, siya ay concise. And it has an accurate representation that reflect the content and the scope of research. Ano-ano ba yung laman ng inyong title? The title should have the methods, the problems being solved, and the outcome. Nandoon na lahat. Makikita ko na pag binasa ko, alam ko na yung method na gagamitin ninyo, alam ko na yung study na inyong uh, nila binibigyan ng ng solusyon at ano yung innovation na gagawin ninyo. It must be also engaging. While accuracy is vital, the title that attracts interest can draw readers in yung attention ng reader natin. Avoid being sensational or misleading dun sa title natin. Baka kasi gusto nyo lang ay catchy siya pero sensation pala yung inyong title. So atin po yun na i-eliminate. Keyword rich. We have to really incorporate the relevant words, including dependent and independent variables, to help other finds your research during database researches. And of course, dapat siya ay appropriate dun sa inyong mga audience. Now, yung independent and dependent variables will be discussed to you siguro sa susunod natin na pagkikita. Sa ating next po natin na discussion. Alright. Moving on. For the introduction. Now, the introduction is the opening section of your research paper that introduces the topic, sets the context, and captures the reader's interest. Dun pa lang, hindi po naman, ang introduction actually ay 1 to to 3 sentences is enough, to, kumbaga ay to have the introduction. Kasi opening section lang naman siya eh. Pwede nga siyang isang paragraph pala, hindi sentence. Ano yung ini-include natin? Briefly set the scene by describing the topic and why is it relevant today. Research problem or overview, introduce the core problem or gap that of your study aims to address, and highlights why this is the study matters and who will benefit from it. So this is an example. In recent years, social media has become the primary source of news for many college students. However, the spread of new, however, ito na yung sinasabi natin na problem, overview. Ito yung ating intro or opening context. And this study aims to, yan, ito yung tatlo, yung opening context, the research problem, and the purpose or importance. Minding you that the introduction, pwede rin ito yung gamitin ninyo na a guide in writing your introduction. It should start in a broad topic. You begin with a general statement about a broader topic area. But then again, in your research, sa inyo pong title, kumbaga, it serves as the foundation of your study, sabi nga natin, and presents the background of your topic, explain the context of the problem, and continues the objective to your research that seeks to accomplish. So, it is important that we provide clarity and direction, helping the readers understand bakit nga ba na nagmamatter yung research ninyo and what intends to accomplish and how it will proceed. So, yung strong introduction help builds interest and establishes the foundation for the next chapter. Okay. Now, ito pwede kayo mag-start with a broad topic, meaning the general topic, and then ina-narrow down ninyo yung focus ninyo to a specific area, is issue within that area. And you clearly state the problem or gap in knowledge. Tapos, you can have a literature review or some sort of literature review, pero hindi ganun kahaba. Kaunti lang talaga siya. Magbibigay lang kayo ng backgrounder and rationale or justification that state explicitly why your research is needed. Ano nga ba? Bakit kailangan? It should provide the evidence-based insights in a long-term impact of play-based intervention which can inform educational practices or policy or whatever from the different perspective of your study depending on the topic. And of course, yung ating objective or purpose. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, the introduction could contain 1 to 4 paragraph lamang. Hindi ganun kahabaan. Yung isang page nga, okay na yun for an introduction. But then, huwag nating kakalimutan yung Bible verse natin dito. The Bible verse could be a verses from the Bible which is very related dun sa inyong topic na ginagawa. Moving on with the background of the study. The background of the study is the detailed explanation of the context and circumstances surrounding your research topic and discusses existing knowledge related to studies and the gap of your studies that aims to fill. So, yung isasama natin, of course, meron ulit kayo dyan ng tinatawag natin na opening context, existing studies or data. It could be some 2 to 3 or 4 sentences for existing studies or data. You have to mention yung previous research or statistics that have revealed about the topic. At dyan yung ipapakita or identify ninyo yung gap, yung issue. Show what is still unknown or resolved. So, parang kagaya nito, ito yung opening context niya. Social media has rapidly evolved into one of the primary news sources for college students in the Philippines. Now, para ma-providean itong ating opening context or topic, may nilagay na siya kaagad ng existing studies or data. Nakalagay dyan, according to 2023 Pulse Asia Survey, 68% of Filipinos aged 18 to 24 get their daily news from Facebook. So with that, nakikita na kaagad na there is really a problem with the data that is being presented. While this trend makes news more accessible, online platforms are also prone to the rapid spread of unverified information. Although there is a growing research misinformation, little or known about, so blah blah. So doon na ito na pumapasok yung identified the gaps. Now, the that is the essence, okay? That you could also try to answer these three questions. So, what is the story behind the topic? Why is it relevant? What problem is still need to be solved? Ganun din dun sa atin pong background of the study, kinakailangan na ipakita din natin yung primary goal of the background section to introduce and justify your research problem. It allows the reader to understand the development and current status of the research, recognize the gap, and appreciate the significance and necessity to your study. Ano pa yung pwede natin i-include? The general overview of the topic, the historical context or background into, the current trends, the problems or the gaps, the relevant statistics or facts, importance of the topic in your field or society, and you have to briefly mention of prior research that relates to your background of the study. Now, in that case, pwede rin naman kasi na some sort of dahil nandun na sa background of the study, pwede mong isama ng kaunti. Halimbawa, yung study ninyo ay ginagawa ninyo for itong sa Sariaya. So, a little bit backgrounder of Sariaya. Hindi sinabing history ha, little bit or briefly explain. Tapos, ano yung issue na meron doon. Yan. So, it could be yan, sabi ko nga sa inyo, yung historical context that provide a concise historical background that outlines the evolution of the topic, present trends and relevance. Isama na natin yung mga current trends, issues, date, or ongoing issues that make the topic timely and significant. Kaya dito sa background of the study, meron pa ulit kayo another review of key literature, briefly reference previous studies. Kaya sabi ko sa inyo, mahalaga na kayo ay nagbabasa palagi. Or expert opinions that support the relevance of your topic. Ganun din, aalamin or identify ninyo yung research gap which has not been explored, what problems remain unresolved, or a specific area on your study is focusing. And explain why this study was initiated. I-mention nyo na din yung mga issue that deserves academic attention and how the results may contribute to the existing knowledge of the real world solution. Okay? Next, we have here the conceptual framework. So ano nga ba yung conceptual framework? A conceptual framework is a visual presentation. When we say visual presentation, it could be in a form of graph, it could be in a form of chart, it could be in a form of sequence, that explains either graphically or in narrative form. And the main things to be studied are the key factors, the concepts, or the different variables. Kaya mahalaga na alam ninyo yung mga variables na inyong gagamitin. And presume the relationship among them. Where does the conceptual framework fit in? Of course, it provides the structure. Ito yun, dito tayo magfo-focus. Provides the structure content for the whole study based on the real literature and personal experiences. Ma'am, pwede po pala ang personal experience. Yes, pero you cannot write it as, Kasi 'di ba meron tayong tinatawag ng case study, you are emerging dun sa or nagme-merge tayo dun sa ano, dun sa nangyayari as we observed. That's the reason why sabi diyan, puwede yung personal experience pero dapat meron pa rin siya nung tinatawag natin na, ah, parang yung tinatawag natin na ano na, ano tawag dito, yung observation notes, okay. And in a qualitative ano, interpretation of the results puwede rin diyan, mahalaga din 'yan nating makita. Develop as participants' views and issues are gathered and analyzed. Okay. So, dun yun puwede nating makita or mahanap yung mga, qualitative for the, possession of the conceptual framework. The qualitative work is described as stating from an inductive position seeking to build a theory. So dahil yung mga anong yun, yung mga concept na yun or nanggaling pa rin siya ano dun sa mga theory, dun sa mga binasa natin. And conceptual framework being emergent because existing literature or theories might mislead. Okay? There is also a tentative rudimentary conceptual framework that is, um, kumbaga ay fini-feature niya ano, dun sa study natin yung iba't ibang klase ng idea of what you are looking for or even if that idea changes over time. Ano. And it can also true for an experienced or constrained researchers. Ganun din ano, paano natin ide-develop ang conceptual framework? Ano ba nga ba yung mga input that is go into developing a conceptual framework? Experiential knowledge of students and supervisor, which is it could be yung technical knowledge nila, the research background, the personal experience, and the data that is being particularly for a qualitative or quantitative type of research. It can also be yung galing sa mga related theory, ano, that are the concepts and relationship that is being used to represent the real world. What is happening and why. The prior related research on how people have tackled similar problems and what they have learned. Kaya nga sabi natin, ito kumbaga pinagsama-sama nung concept na ating nabasa. Kaya dapat madami talaga tayong babasahin. And it could be the other theories ano, and research which approaches the lines of investigation and the theory that are not obviously relevant and previously used. How it might be developed, ay i-identify nyo muna ano, yung mga keywords to be used in the subject area of your study. Yan. Keywords. Tapos, draw out the key things within something you have already written about the subject area from the review of related studies and literature. And then you are going to get one key concept, the idea or the term at a time, and then brainstorm with your classmates that might be related, and then go back and select those that seem very relevant to your study. So whichever is used, it will make the, time and a number of iterations, and the focus is both on the content and interrelationship. So how do we present the conceptual framework? It could be in the process framework, which sets the stage through which an action moves from initiation to conclusion, and yung relationship niya. How does it relate to your question. The content frameworks, which sets the different kinds of variables and possibly the relationship with the relative strength between that together answer the why question. Ano, you may include the flow chart, the tree diagram, the shape-based diagram, which in the form of triangle, concentric circles, the overlapping circles, mind mapping, soft systems. Ano, ito yung ano, yung isa sa example ng conceptual diagram. Ano, na pinapakita dito yung communication channel. So it uses a flow chart of innovation in decision making. Now with that, ito yung ilalagay ninyo sa inyong study. Ano, halimbawa, sabi nyo, kunin lang natin. Ito yung, kunyari, ito yung nakuha ninyo. Ito yung pagsama-sama ninyo ng mga different kinds of conditions na pagsama-sama ninyo from the different concepts of one study to another. Kunyari, ito yung nakuha ninyo. Yan. So, after nyan, ilalagay nyo siya din, syempre, dun sa inyong pinakang study yun, theoretical framework. Of course, you have here the very basic, yung introduction ninyo. Halimbawa, sabi nyo, the theoretical framework based on the different literatures gathered by the researchers. Blah, 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 blah. The discussion, yan. Nakalagay discussion. Nilalagay ninyo dyan. And then after that, pwede na ninyong ilagay ito. Yan. So, meron kayo kunyari, let us just assume na ito yung nakuha ninyo na pagsama-sama ninyo na, uh, na, na theory, ayusin nyo lang siya. Ito-through lang natin siya. Tapos, syempre may pangalan. Figure 1, ilalagay ninyo. Figure 1, bigyan nyo ng pangalan yung theory nyo. The theoretical framework of communication channel. Communication channel. And then, ito syempre ay center. Tapos, ito yung naka-bold at siya ay naka-italize. That's one. Tapos, explanation. Explain here. Yan, kailangan nakaganyan. Explain. Halimbawa, sabi niyo, figure 1 represents the theoretical framework of communication channel which, kayo nang bahala mag-explain. So, of course, kinakailangan nakasama siya doon sa atin pong may mga supporting details kayo dito like yung iba't ibang klase ninyo ng inyong mga researches. Ipapakita nyo dyan. Okay po? Now, next. We can use a tree chart of changing consumer behavior o ganito na pagsama-sama ninyo. Pwede rin ganyan. Or a triangle needs. Depende sabi ko nga sa inyo, ang inyong theoretical framework will depend on the study that you get from the different point of view of related studies and literature na inyong kinuha. O a mind map that cruise travel and impact. Of course, kapag may mga ganyan, halimbawa nakita nyo siya, sabi nyo, this is somewhat like related sa aking study. Kinakailangan lang na acknowledge ninyo yung author. Okay? Kagaya nito, soft system framework of the recent business industry. Yan. May ganyan kayo na ginawa or na theory. Bakit nga ba siya useful? It's because it moves beyond description of what to explain and of how and why. So, madali para sa atin na maintindihan yung descriptive ninyo. It also explain explanation set that might be used to define or make sense of the data that flow from the research question. Filtering tool, ayan, for selecting appropriate research question and reference point naman or structure for the discussion of the literature. At dito natin nakikita yung boundaries, yung range, yung limit ng inyong study. Ano nga naman ang limitation ng framework? It is influenced by the experience and knowledge of an individual. Initially, pwedeng mapakita natin yung biases. Pero, sabi ko nga sa inyo, yung biases naman na yan ay mai-eliminate natin if we really read different kinds of different kinds of mga natin, yung mga literatures, no? Once developed, it will influence the researcher's thinking and may result in some things being given prominence and other being ignored, or yung tinatawag natin na ongoing bias. Now, the theoretical and conceptual framework, ito rin na no, theories are constructed in order to explain, predict the master phenomena or relationship. Formulating the theoretical framework, bakit pala? Itong isa ay conceptual, ito naman ay theoretical framework, kasi we would like to create new theories of a circular economy for mass housing, halimbawa. So, ito naman ay nanggaling, sabi natin, yung theory ay nanggaling sa isang ulit na pinag-aralan natin, na predict yung phenomena, it makes generalization about on the certain observations that you made, which is interrelated, coherent dun sa ideas ninyo. The theoretical framework of the study is a structure that can hold support a theory of research work and presents the theory which explains why problem under study exists. It serves as a basis for conducting your research. Ano yung purpose niya? Ito para makita natin yung mga variables na gagamitin natin dun sa inyong study. It can also provide with a general framework for data analysis and essential in preparing research proposal using descriptive and experimental method. So, sa theoretical framework, ito yung pwede ninyong gamitin, yung basic theory. Halimbawa, may nakita ulit kayo na mga theory na galing dun sa mga theorists natin, pwede nyong gamitin, i-adapt dun sa study ninyo. But just make sure lang na siya ay, na siya ay relevant talaga dun sa inyong study. It could be selective gatekeeping na sinasabi, pwedeng ganito. And pwedeng ganito yung gamitin ninyo, model of agenda setting theory or combined theory. Pwedeng halimbawa, meron kang theory na nabasa, tapos yung isa nabasa mo, tapos yung isa ay pinag-combine natin siya. Pero, meron tayo nung tinatawag class na eto, yung tinatawag natin na sa conceptual framework, DI po, usually sa mga study ng undergrad research, sa conceptual framework, dahil siya ay theory, dun sa konsepto, nung, theory na yun, so, or based on this theory, na kinonceptualize natin, ay dito natin ipinapakita or isinasama yung tinatawag natin na mga variables sa input. Ayan. Ito pala hindi pala ito, ayan, teka lang. Ito yung mga variables ninyo. Ano yung mga possible input ninyo dun sa study ninyo? Yan. Halimbawa, sabi nyo, ang mga possible input ninyo ay age. Ang possible input ninyo kunyari ay nagmamatter din para sa inyo yung location. Kunyari, yun yung ninyo. Yung about sa, halimbawa, ay location ng isang restaurant. Nagmamatter din yung, anong tawag dito, yung kanilang economic status. Yan. Pwedeng yan yung ilagay ninyo kasi it could be the relevant variable na pwede niyong gamitin. So, and so on and so forth. For the process, paano niyo siya gagawin? Ano yung proseso na igagawin ninyo? Ano yung proseso na mangyayari para ma-comply ninyo or matapos ninyo yung study ninyo? Process po, Now, in that case, pwede ninyong ilagay dito kasi ito yung process dito is the system itself. O halimbawa, magkakaroon kayo ng statistical treatment of the study. Paano? So, paano? Yan. Kaya meron siyang question mark. Ano yung mga possible ninyong gagawin na process para yung theory ninyo na na-conceptualize ninyo ay turn into a something which is very useful. Tapos, ano yung magiging output ninyo? Halimbawa, sabi ninyo, ang output ninyo ay seminar, capacity building in for employee growth, employee professional, and personal growth. O yan, that is one of your output. So, in that case, kinakailangan na meron siyang feedback kasi hindi naman natatapos dun sa output. After that, ipaprocess dito ulit. And then, hindi na siya figure 1 kasi meron na tayo ditong figure 1 ay, no? So, ilalagay mo na dito ay figure 2 and then, ano yung kanyang title. So, usually, kapag IPO na ganitong ginamit, we have used the IPO diagram of ITEC or kung ano man yung gusto ninyong itawag. And then, siya ay atin pong i-explain. So, nakalagay dito, figure 2 represents blah, 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 blah. Yan. So, itatype nyo na. Ano? Question po. Now, if you have any question, just type in dun sa atin pong i-message nyo sa ating chat box or kaya sa ating GC. Ano? Okay, moving on with the statement of the problem. Excuse me. For formulating your statement of the problem, it could be the research questions. You pose for the research question the case study, and if you're doing a quantitative research, this is where you write or null or alternative hypothesis. So, ano yung i-include natin dun sa ating research question? It could be a clear and answerable. Crafting in an effective research question or statement of the problem is crucial for guiding your research and ensuring a focused investigation. So, these are some of the guidelines na pwede mong gamitin, kapag ikaw ay gagawa ng isang research question. Meron ba dito? Hindi pala kasama. So, you have to start abroad, begin with a general area of interest. And then, yung preliminary research question natin, review existing related literature to identify the gaps. Kaya kailangan, again, magkakandak ulit kayo ng mga gaps ng dun sa literature ninyo. Dun ulit kayo kukuha. Refinement, which narrow your broad topic into a specific researchable question. And generally, kapag kagaya nyo na undergrad, actually, maximum of 3 questions lang kayo. Yung 3 to 5 pang masteral na yun eh. Pero better na pang 3 questions lang yung gagamitin ninyo. Halimbawa, yan, ito na apat nga yung nagawa eh. The main problem of the study is to assess the effectiveness of creative gamification, blah, blah, blah. Specifically, is sought to answer the following question. What is the respondent's profile in terms of technology inclination, availability of resources, and strand? Kasi bakit? Ito ay mga variables na being related to your study. It's because may possibility na yung pagiging incline niya sa technology could affect dun sa pag-a-assess ng effectiveness ng gamification. So meaning to say, hindi lang tayo basta naglalagay diyan ng ating mga research question. Ito ay yung makakaapekto dun sa atin pong research na ginagawa. What is the level of awareness of students in blah, blah, blah? What is the significant difference of blank? What action plan can be used in order to implement a gamification part? Yun. So those are some of the problems or research questions that you may want to include in your study. And kasi kapag tayo ay gagawa ng ating research survey question, it will always depend on the objective of the or statement of the problem natin. Next is the research objective. This is the specific aims to your study that intends to achieve. Ano yung gusto mong ma-achieve? So, ilalagay mo ano yung general objective mo, the specific objective, and the clarity, measurability. Ito na nakalagay na example dito. To determine the influence of social media news accuracy, and these are some of the specific objective. We also have here an example. Ay, hindi ko pala nailagay. Significance na pala to. Now, there are times, pansinin nyo, ma'am, ba't wala po nung objective nung atin pong It's because class, as yung sa trend natin ngayon ng research, hindi na, kapag may research question, hindi na natin inilalagay yung objective and vice versa. Kung meron kang objective, hindi mo na nilalagay yung research question. But in your case, since yan ay research, you really need to include the research question. It's because, bakit po ma'am ganun? Kasi yung objective, it's just answer on what you are trying to prove for the research question or the statement of the problem. Kaya isa na lang yung ating inilalagay. Either statement of the problem or the objective. But in our case, we'll be using the statement of the problem. Scope and delimitation. The scope and delimitation naman, scope and delimitation na ba agad tayo dito? Significance muna tayo. Teka lang. Tingnan natin dito. May significance ba ako? Ayan. The significance of the study. Sa significance of the study, it explains who will benefit from the study and how. Paano? We have to really explain it in your documentation or to your manuscript. Discuss both the theoretical and practical value of your research to that certain beneficiaries and be direct and audience specific. Halimbawa, sino po ba yung primary beneficiary nyo, secondary beneficiary ninyo, and type of contribution. Well, actually, yung example ko dito, naka-specify pa na ganito. Sino-sino ba yung mag-benefit? Halimbawa, nakalagay dito to the students of Colegio de Santo Cristo de Burgos, to the teachers, to the future developers. Pero, actually, ngayon, sa panahon ngayon, ang significance of the study is in the form of, in the form of, parang ganito, na narrative na siya. Kaya lang, may mga panel kasi na ang gusto nila nakaganito pa din. Yan. Kaya ganito yung binigay ko na, binigay ko na example. Naka-identify na, and then there is an explanation after. Halimbawa, dito. Tas ito yung explanation para doon. Kung paano yung mabe-benefit niya dun sa study ninyo. Next, the scope and limitation. In this case, scope and delimitation. This clarify the boundaries of your research and what it covers and what it intentionally excludes, which helps manage expectation and focus on your study. So, ano ba yung mga kasama dito? What to include? The geographic, the time, and the population limits, the specific focus areas and excluded topics, the reasons for these boundaries and limitations that may affect results and generalization. In this case, pansinin ninyo, meron tayo ng coverage, may focus, ano yung limitation. In this study, ayan na, ito yung example. Ito yung kanyang coverage. It covers the primary sources such as blah blah. Kaya lang, meron siya nito. The study does not include or pwede mong gamitin ng however, moreover, on the other hand, yan. Kapag gumamit na kayo ng ganun, ibig sabihin, yun yung mga limitation na ng inyong study. So, kagaya nito, the researchers developed the proposed system, and then naka-indicate dyan kung ano-ano yung cover niya. Pwedeng halimbawa, it covers 60 respondents or kaya naman ay 60 in the total population within the Sariaya, Quezon. So, nakalagay doon yung range, yung scope ninyo. And then, pansinin, may nakalagay na ako dito na kung titingnan, yung sabi natin na on the other hand, yan. May nakalagay na, nasan ba yun dito? The researchers is hindi ko pa nalalagay. So, pwede mo na ilagay dito, nasa sabi, on the other hand, the study will not cover the, yeah, so explain nyo na lang kung ano. Okay? Now, moving on, itatapusin lang natin yung chapter 1 natin bago tayo dumating sa mga kailangan nating gawin pa. Review of related studies and literature. So, medyo mahaba-haba ang review of related studies and literature. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, dapat ay may 5-year time frame lang tayo. And the review serves as the critical foundation for research by analyzing and synthesizing existing scholarly work that focus on a well-defined topic. So, kinakailangan mag-search tayo for relevant literature, yung mga keywords, determine the key terms related to your research topics, and you may use different kinds of databases to search academic databases like JSTOR, PubMed, PsycInfo, the ERIC, Web of Science, and Google Scholar. And you may also consult the experts. Now, you have to evaluate and select the sources. Tingnan niyo yung relevance niya dun sa inyong study. How closely it does to your the source that is related to your research question. What is the quality or the peer-reviewed, reputable, or methodologically sound? Currency, the recency or the recent, current of the source considered dun sa inyong sariling field requires more recent source than any other else. And authority. Organize and synthesize, identify themes. Look for recurring themes, patterns, and debates in literature. The group studies, which organizes studies by topic, methodology. And if how to write your literature review, start by the introduction, which briefly introduce the topic and provide an overview of the literature to be reviewed. And then the body, which organizes the literature review into sections. So, tayo ay naka-thematic or themes or yung tinatawag natin na sabi natin ay naka-category, which align to your research question pa rin. Analysis, do not just summarize, but then you have to analyze the information, identify the key findings and contradictions, and gaps in your research. Now, ito, naka-thematic siya. Ibig sabihin, halimbawa, meron kayo dyan a little bit of information. Halimbawa ay, sabi ninyo, this section will discuss some of the reviewed related studies and literature. Ano nga ba yun? Relevant to the completion of the study. So, pwede pa kayo maglagay ng kahit ano pong mga dyan, pang-introduction ninyo. Tapos, since nakalagay dito, sabi natin ay naka-themes, depende dun sa inyong research question. Halimbawa, ang una yung research question ay ito, respondent's profile. So, in terms of technology inclination, so you have to look for technology inclinations. Yan. Tapos, iyan, hahanap kayo ng tungkol diyan and just make sure na kapag kayo ay gagawa na ng mga review of related studies and literature, dapat po siya ay ang tawag dito, yung author niya ay inyo pong ina-acknowledge. Halimbawa, kunyari ito yung inyong nakalagay dyan. Kunyari lang ha, about the technology inclination. Tapos, nilagay nyo dito. Kunyari, ito yung laman. Now, in that case, kunyari lang siya yung laman noong yun, tungkol sa inclination na yun. Now, kung ito'y kinuha ninyo, halimbawa, sa isang source, nakalagay dyan, yung site yung author ninyo, halimbawa, Flores 2025. That's how you cite, or for the in-text citation. Moreover, halimbawa ay Baldeo 2023, synthesizes, yan. Ibig sabihin, ito ay may pinanggalingan. Ito yung author. So, ganyan po tayo nag-i-in-text citation. So, ito yung mga basic principles on how we are going to have the in-text citation. So, we use para parenthetical citation, nilalagay na nakaganito, or narrative citation like just like this. The specific scenarios, the one author, yan. We also have the two authors. Ganito po ang ginagawa natin. 3 or more authors. Yan, ito. Ito naman ay ibibigay ko sa inyo para meron kayong guide. Kapag organization, yan, ito yung gagawin ninyo. Kapag naman unknown yung author, ay di kukunin nyo yung title of work and then yung kanyang year. So that's how we used some sort of the in-text citation. Pag naman kinakailangan, of course, hindi naman lagi siya na sabi natin ay hindi ninyo dapat lagi siyang kina-copy and paste. You really need to paraphrase the sentences or i-summarize ninyo yung mga nakita ninyo na based on your understanding. Tapos saka ninyo siya ilagay dito sa inyong mga sa inyong review of related studies and literature. Then after that, you have to synthesize. Ano po ba ang laman ng nung synthesis ninyo? It is a conceptual and research literature that is crucial step in building a strong foundation. So dito pinapakita natin, ina-analyze natin, sinasummarize natin yung main findings of the literature review. Pinapakita natin yung highlight, yung implication ng inyong research. Ina-address dito natin yung gaps, or build upon existing knowledge. Dito rin ine-explain yung mga similarities and differences of the cited research studies of the current studies. Now, next. Before I move on with the definition of terms, ito yung mga websites na pwede ninyong kunan kasi actually kapag kayo po ay kumukuha ng mga review of related literature and studies, hindi palaging naka-base siya dun sa dun sa na tawag dito dun sa ibang bansa. Kailangan mas maganda, mas marami ang galing sa local. And for you to be able to look for some local literatures, you can use ito yung Tuklas, ito yung kanyang website. Yan, Discovery Libraries, Ganun din, yung Philippine e-journals, ito yung kanyang website. Philippine Social Science Journal, ito yung kanyang URL. The Plaridel Journal, and dito naman kung para saan siya. And ito yung kanyang link. Bahandiyan, ayan. Wait, what else? Es Comunidad Hasaan. So, ito yung kanyang link. Philippine Education Research Journal. And for the yung sa ating international journal na pwede ninyong pagkuhanan, yan, yung Springer. Ito yung ERIC, Education Resources Information System, the Google Scholar, the Global ETD Research, Infotopia, Thesis.fr, the DOAJ, Directory of Open Access Journal, the LIB Guides, the BASE, the core, basesearch.net, at ReefSec. Ayan. Now, ito yung mga journals na pwede ninyong kunan at para makapaghanap kayo ng mga review of related studies and literature ninyo. Again, do not just contain on sa alam nyo lang na pwedeng mag-research. Dapat ay broad yung inyong alam. Dapat ay madami kayong pinagkukunan. And yung definition of terms, okay? The definition of terms is the yan, a list of important words or concepts used in the study which define according to how they applied in a research. This ensures clarity and avoid misunderstanding. We have the key concepts, the operational definition, and the clear concepts na or concise. Now, in that case, sa ating definition of terms, isinasama natin dito yung mga variables. And it is divided into operational and technical. Yung operational is the one that is being used in your study. And yung technical, siya yung hinahanapin. Hindi mo siya pwedeng i-define. Pero siya ay madedefine gamit ang dictionary natin. At atin pong isinasama yung kanyang o inilalagay natin yung in-text citation natin. Halimbawa ito, galing siya sa Marayam, eh di ilalagay ninyo ay Webster o kaya ay dictionary. Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Tapos 2023. Yan. Kasi ito, dinefine. Hindi kayo ang nag-define. Kaya ang tawag natin dyan ay technical term. So, that consists of chapter 1. Ano? Yan. Ganyan lamang ang inyong gagawin. At, kumbaga ay, ito yung magiging basis ninyo para sa inyong pagkakandak po ng inyong um, title validation kasi nandito na lahat. Kumbaga, ito yung supporting details ninyo para sa inyong title. So, do you have any question po? Kung may mga kung wala na po tayong mga katanungan, naintindihan po ang ating discussion ngayong araw na ito. Dahil after this, siguro you may want to write your chapter 1 para sa inyong title validation. So with that, thank you so much po sa inyong lahat.